On this week's show, Lucas Rowe of Red Blue Games is here to mine the depths of Sparklite, a whimsical action-adventure game that is headed to the Nintendo Switch later this week. Speaking of things that rock, Terry Bogard makes his Smash Bros. Debut, and yes, we are more than okay. And finally, the Hype Zone pours out a half-caf, non-fat, double cappuccino that's just enough foam to be aesthetically pleasing, but not so much that it leaves a mustache. This is Nintendo Dual Screens, episode 126. Suck on that, Andy. Suck on it.
Did you get the reference?
I did. That was definitely a Frasier reference. That's definitely a Frasier reference. Welcome, everybody, to Nintendo Dual Screens, episode 126 for the week of November 11th, 2019, sponsored by MeltedPins.com. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana. With me, as always, each and every week, it is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
I'm good. I must say, I do prefer my coffee with milk steamed with a dollop of foam, such as might give the effect of a cumulus cloud reflected on a still pond.
Mm-hmm. I like mine with just the slightest wisp of cinnamon. Just the slightest dusting.
Not a dusting.
Not a dusting, a wisp.
Oh no, a whisper, not a full-throated shout.
Yes, not a shout. Oh, Lucas, welcome aboard. That is right. We have Lucas with us. How you doing, Lucas? How is everything?
Good. I never watched Frasier, so all those references.
Oh, this is gonna go horribly wrong.
This is gonna be great.
Or
it's actually been right. It's actually been months since we've actually referenced Frasier on a regular basis. So I'm glad we got back to it, Andy. I'm very proud of you.
Yes.
For those of you that are new to Nintendo Dual Screens podcast, just like Lucas is, this is an interview show where Andy and I bring on an industry guest and talk about the indies and Nintendo's past, present, and future. Nintendo Dual Screens posts each and every Monday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And of course, you can find all of our stuff, everything that we do, from videos, written articles, reviews, podcast, absolutely everything. Even when we do exclusive Patreon stuff, we'll write up a little thing for it and we'll put it on the website for you so you don't miss it, and that is dualscreens.com. Please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts if that's what you use, because it's been a while and we need them. It helps get the eyeballs, more eyes on it. It attacks the algorithm, as it were. Folks, a little bit of housekeeping here. We are migrating podcast hosts. That is something that is happening. First, Proven Gamer needed to change where they were hosting because of a snafu behind the scenes. So that's why if you were trying to download the show, you couldn't for a couple of days. It was because they were migrating. Now, Nintendo Dual Screens is going completely independent, and we are going to be migrating to our own podcast host. But we're having issues getting all of the backlog. We seem to only be able to get the last 50 episodes or so to actually migrate over. So while we are working on that in the back end, everything is still going to go up on Proving Gamer until we figure out how to get it all to work. So we do appreciate your patience with that. If you want to support us on Patreon, you could do so at patreon.com/NDS podcast, just like our Patreon producer, Alex Gonzalez, who's in the middle of his Mortal Kombat 11 season, so he has not achieved demigod status just yet. So we, of course, will just refer to him as the pleb that he is. Alex, we love you. Cannot continue to grow without your support. So please, if you head over to Patreon and NDS Podcast, $1 gets you a bonus episode every single month and gets you access to our VIP Discord channel where you can hang out with us, each other, and some of our indie dev guests that have Discord and want to hang out with you and us. There's about like 24 or so in there. It's pretty cool. All right. So before we get into the lead story and the Nintendo news report, and before we get into Sparklite, which I'm so excited for. I just got my code myself. I'm very excited to dive in. It is time for everybody's favorite segment. That's right. It is the Nindies of the week. Andy.
That's a lot better than last week when you couldn't talk barely.
I know.
You were on death's door.
Lucas, I was very sick the last time we recorded, which was only on Sunday.
Yeah, you were speedy recovery.
Speedy recovery,
Yeah.
but I was sick from last Tuesday until yesterday, essentially. So I was sick for basically a week. Yeah. So Andy, what you been playing, man? Anything fun?
Nothing new. A lot of housekeeping. I
Okay.
finished up Blasphemous and Ape Out. A lot of backlog this past
Okay.
weekend. Just getting ready for Sparklite, for Death Stranding, and Pokemon in the next couple of weeks is the intense focus. So nothing to recommend. Just old shit that's been sitting there that I paid for and didn't finish yet, which I should finish. So
Speaking of old stuff, the Moonlighter is less than $13 right now on the eShop. I don't know how long it's going to be less than $13. It's like $12.49 or something like that. So yeah, if you don't have that, pick that up. That's going to be my Nindy of the week. Even though I'm not currently playing it this week, I'm actually working through some other stuff I've already been playing. I'm still playing Mistover. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, so if you don't have Moonlighter yet, it is very cheap. It's actually cheap across all platforms. So even if you don't own a Nintendo Switch, which some of our listeners don't, and if you don't and you own one of the other consoles, Moonlighter is very cheap and it's a very fun game. So you should definitely check it out. Lucas, are you playing anything or are you just building games?
Yeah, I haven't played games in so long. It's I don't know when. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be patching stuff in after launch, but I will probably do a similar thing. Go to my library and visit some of the games that I bought and never reopened. But yeah, Moonlighter's definitely a good one. I played a little bit of that and would like to play more.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's just so much out there. Hollow Knight, I would pick up Hollow Knight and then like a month later pick it back up and be like, where the heck am I?
Yeah, that's not a good game to
spend
leave.
an hour,
and
yeah,
go
just
back
getting
to.
reacclimated, and then close it because that's all the time I had.
You know what game is absolutely impossible for me to pick up like that and get back into? Any of the Batman Arkham games or the Tomb Raider games. There are so many things that you get, like different powers or like different weapons or gadgets or whatever, that like remembering where everything is mapped to is damn near impossible unless you just spend 3 or 4 hours just reacclimating yourself to the game, and you might as well just start over at that point.
Yeah, and sometimes you have these itches that you want to scratch, but you come back later and you don't care so much about it.
Yes, exactly. All right, that is what we are playing, or what we wish we were playing. But what could we be playing? That's right, folks. Let's go to Nintendo.com. Let's go to that coming soon section, and let's see what's coming out this week, as of the 11/11. All right, so we got the Mims beginning. And by the way, if either of you played any of these games, I looked at the list. I don't think I have played or heard of any of these games, to be quite honest with you. So if any of you have, great. What is that noise? Oh my goodness. Romancing Saga 3. I've heard of the game, but I don't know anything really about Romancing Saga. Draw Chili, Thief of Thieves, Season 1. Mad Games Tycoon is coming out as well. That's a $40 game. Wow. Okay.
Well worth it.
Zen Chess Collection. Yaga. I feel like I've heard of Yaga. I think that might be a port. Bee Simulator.
For $40.
Yeah. I've heard it's a very good game.
Oh my god.
That's what I've heard.
Right.
Hole Down.
Oh.
Push the Crate. Very creative name. Galactic Defense Squadron. Some Distant Memory. Labyrinth of the Witch. Perils of Baking. I'm opening that one. Rocket Wars. Squidgy's Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is one little highlight. I don't know if you ever heard of this game. Sparklite.
Oh yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard things.
This game's Sparklite coming out
Not
on Thursday the
the
14th.
best things, but I've heard things.
I've heard
It's got a
things.
ring to it. I don't know anything else about it, but
Yeah.
the name
Yeah.
sounds really good.
And then coming to slaughter the lamb, that is anything that releases next week, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I don't know
All
about
right.
this one anymore.
What,
I'm a
Pokemon?
little sour on it.
Oh no, I'm all
You
in.
know what's odd? Some of our listeners wrote to me and said that they were gonna wait for the game to go on sale or buy it used because
Right.
when those leaks came out
Yeah.
last week,
Yeah.
no.
See you in 2025 then, buddy.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for that price drop.
Yeah.
Woven, Tactical Mind 2, Munchkin,
No, you're ahead of the game, I think.
the 19th. When is the 19th?
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
next week.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
following week. Okay. The 19th is my birthday, so
Oh.
look at that. I want to look at Mad Games Tycoon just looks like a game developer simulator, like game dev story. And Perils of Baking. What is happening here? Oh my god. Okay, so what? It's a 2D platforming love letter to its retro inspirations.
Is it like Burger Time, but updated?
No, it is not.
What are the retro
It's
inspirations then?
platforming. It's literally a platforming game. Like there's a minecart that you're avoiding lava.
The cooking game?
No, it's not a cooking game. That's the issue. The issue is that it's called The Perils of Baking, but it's just a 2D side-scrolling platformer
Okay.
with 8-bit sprites, and it's only $3.99.
Okay.
I'm gonna buy
I may
it.
have to buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking buy it. You're damn right, I'm gonna buy it. That's what we do around here, Lucas. We support the little guys. You know,
Definitely
you know what I mean?
appreciate it.
Got to do it. All right. Speaking of Sparklite and all these games coming out this week, definitely Sparklite's the only one of any game that came out this week that Andy and I have actually played. So there you go. So we can actually speak on it. But that's going to bring us into our lead story. Lucas Rowe, what's your title over there at Red Blue?
Well, let's think. We've put like different things on our badges at different points. I'm maybe a designer / programmer / producer, but
/PR.
/PR. Yep.
A man of many hats. That's a very, very similar story to pretty much, I would say, at least 80% of the devs that we have on the show. Everybody kind of wears many different hats, you know, taking on different jobs based on various parts of the project. You know, some of them are solo devs that do literally everything. Some of them did everything until their Kickstarter and they were able to hire people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the genesis of Sparklite. Can you tell us how Sparklite came to be, how Red Blue came to be, and how you essentially started this project?
How you came to be?
At what point was the conception?
Yeah,
is what I'm asking.
Our conception and the conception of my conception and Red Blues are not too dissimilar because we founded my twin brother and I founded Red Blue. Similar to the way we were born at the same time, we founded the company at the same time.
Wow, look at that.
And we joked that like we were the least diverse 2-person team or 2-person company that you could create, where 100% genetically the same. But then maybe a year in, our friend Kevin and Edward's ex-coworker joined the team. So the three of us are all kind of have programming backgrounds. So we started doing prototypes that were all pixel art. And we took it to trade shows and tried to get some sort of market validation. And eventually, I don't know, basically every hurdle that we kind of greenlit the game further and further. And eventually found a publisher to help us hire a couple full-time artists, and that really brought up the art quality of the game. And so for the last year we've been anywhere from like a 3-person to a 7-person team. So it really ramped up towards the end.
So Sparklite is definitely something special. From the second you see it, when you walk past it, you say, "Ooh, that looks really pretty. That looks like it's really fun." So tell our listeners who don't know what Sparklite is, what is Sparklite? What makes it so special?
So Sparklite is an top-down action adventure inspired by our retro classics like Zelda, but with a lot of modern gameplay influences. So it kind of started. When we first started 4 years ago, we were really into a lot of the roguelites, and FTL especially was like really. We were really into that, and so we thought about how would we apply those um, those design mechanics to a Zelda game, and I guess since then it's we kind of filled it out, and some things worked and some things didn't. Um, but yeah, so I guess that's kind of the game design side of it. The plot line, you play as Ada, a genius engineer, and you crash land on this planet Geodia. And your first mission is to reunite with a friend of yours that you get separated with during the crash. And the planet itself is the roguelite piece is the planet is being these fractures are shuffling the world. So every time you play, the world will be a little bit different.
I just got a flashback from PAX East playing this demo with the crash landing segment,
Yeah,
and that little robot companion, and now I'm upset at you.
yeah, yeah. See? Yeah, I yeah. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally
Yeah,
fine.
it's not all negative. There's good stuff in here too.
So it's easy to throw out like it's a Zelda inspired game plus it's this. There's
Right.
a lot of games out there that have that sort of same foundation.
Yeah.
What makes this game in particular better or stand out from the pack of ones trying to emulate that Zelda kind of sensibility, but with more of a modern um design to it?
Right. Yeah. I think. I mean, I think that's true that a lot of games are trying to get the same feels as Zelda. Um, but yeah, I think the the charm was one thing we spent a lot of time trying to think. Everything in our game needs to have some character, and I think that's it's easier said than done because Nintendo puts a lot of time into their games and making them feel like a Nintendo game. So a lot of work went into just the details that we did. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a tough nut to crack the design of procedural plus Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean I think Moonlighter did a really good job with it, and they still have some of those same Zelda vibes. And we were kind of going for Super Nintendo era. I think their dungeons are more like Nintendo era,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I think yeah that I one of the big differences I think is the gameplay that we've spent a lot of time making the combat itself, differentiating that from Zelda. Especially the Super Nintendo, you're limited to 4 directions, and we basically had to do a whole lot more art than we wanted to make 8 directions look and feel as good as it does. So I think right away you'll pick up on the fact that the gameplay feels contemporary.
Yeah, and you guys have that charm because I'm watching the homepage and the main chick is like bouncing up and down.
Yeah,
So you have the charm component, I think, master, because I think the art direction it's fantastic. It really captures again the SNES kind of quality, but there's way more detail in this than you'd ever imagine from a pixelated game.
yeah. The reverse engineering a lot of Zelda early on when we did this. Just sort of analyzing like what makes those games as magical as they were. I'm just like so impressed. It's given me so much appreciation for back then and how they how they were able to make it that good. But now we do have a lot more tools at our disposal that really help speed up adding more animations that we want to just give something a little more spice. Like we can do that fairly easily, and um our team is just way smaller than their team was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, however long it was. But yeah, so I think the tooling really helps add to some of that, the ability to put the charm in.
Can we expect like this to be a difficult game, like true to the
Well,
roguelite and the SNES, sort of like that sort of classic difficulty in those kind of retro games?
yeah, I was debating naming that as one of our differentiators, because for a long time we've pitched this as an approachable roguelite. Um, and honestly, I really don't even like the word roguelite and sort of resent that it comes out of my mouth as much as it does. Because depending on your audience, they may or may not have any idea what that means.
Right.
And then if you do know what it means, you expect the game to be hard. And I think honestly right now it's probably, it leans harder than I want it to. But um, what it amounts to is the players that are not as skilled can grind a bit more and find success that way. But there's still stuff we want to kind of get to make the game really for everyone. So what I would say is I wouldn't expect it to be easy, but we want it to be. We want it to be that, like, that mix of easy to pick up but hard to master that everybody says, but is easier said than done.
Yeah, this
We
looks like it's going to be like super addictive.
we
Uh,
really didn't want it to be like as gritty as a lot of roguelites out there. It's way happier. You don't actually lose your progress when you die. You keep nearly everything. There's only one type of item that you drop when you die. So your progress is really continually, you're always making some sort of progress.
Right.
What led you to making that decision? Why did you want to make something as approachable as you did?
Yeah, I think it definitely comes from the Zelda inspiration. The uh, Zelda games are, they're not hard. So I think that anybody that's looking at our game and saying, "Oh, that looks like a Zelda game," they're going to be really disappointed if they get Binding of Isaac difficulty, or And I think uh, that that's one of the many reasons. I just think it's also that I lean towards those kinds of games that are more for everyone, and I basically everyone at the studio has now had kids or is about to have kids, and that makes me think, I want a game that my kids can play, that I don't have to wait 15 years for me to put in front of them because they won't be mature enough.
Yeah, but then you have that heartbreaking scene in the beginning. Is that meant for
Well, we
kids?
can tell them about we could.
Is that how you teach them
Yeah.
about death early
That,
on?
well, that yeah. We have a couple moments at the PAX that like have been stories that I've retold, and one of them was a sad one where a little kid was playing our game, and he got to this one of the there's a fight in the game where you can't win it, and so we made it hard enough that you have to lose, because it's how we teach the roguelite, the perma life is what we call it. There's, you never die, but you do lose your current run at some point. And the kid during the load says, "I suck at this game," and that was like the worst feeling ever. And that we took that story back and tried to really work on it, because you want people to feel good still.
So the game is coming out fairly soon this week, and we're super excited about it. What was the most challenging piece during development for your team?
Oh man. I mean, there's so many. Working with your twin brother is itself a huge challenge. I yeah.
Expound.
Yes, please.
I mean, I think there's possibly other twins that are not this difficult. I imagine any brother or sister or sibling, or even best friend combo could be problematic.
Well, spoiler alert here. I not only work with my brother, he is my older brother, and he is my boss.
Oh wow. Well,
He is both my supervisor. He's the chief of the office. I am, about 4 rungs down below that, but I'm like in his department. And he's also responsible for my mentorship. So like if I am failing, it's his responsibility to teach me,
Right.
to like make me not fail.
yeah.
So what was the dynamic between you and your brother?
Yeah, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like him being your older brother is an asset there because it's probably been the dynamic between you your whole lives that he's the more experienced one.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially in the career that we do, because he's working on like 15 years of experience in the business, and I have like 4 years. So, like he's definitely the salty veteran, but like throughout our lives as kids growing up, like we had such vastly different interests, and like there were things that I was better at, like sports and theater, and he was really good at like fighting games and video games and I don't know. He could tell you every single strain of marijuana because he's really smart. But
And dedicated.
Yes,
he's
smart.
a
That's why
botanist.
he knows what those are.
Yeah.
He's a botanist.
Yeah.
But there are, like we each have our strengths and weaknesses, but like when it comes to work, he's like the pro. He like I default to that, but I can't imagine having to do anything with another me. Andy, could you imagine having to do the show with 2 of me?
No, it's hard enough with just one.
Right.
Um,
And I think that's what Lucas might be alluding
I
to.
wondered, do you guys
Yeah.
like swap like your names? Like, oh, I can't be Lucas today. Can you go be Lucas at this thing for me
Right.
for like an
You know,
hour?
Yeah. We
And
never
also,
did-
are you
we-
Lucas right now?
Right. Yeah. We've never done that. We did it once in school, and my brother's best friend outed us immediately when we switched classes. But yeah, no, we don't do any tricks. We're very straight laced when it comes to stuff.
You gotta
like
watch The Prestige, and just see how it's done.
that. Right?
Mhm.
Yes, I have seen the Prestige.
There you go.
But there's a very I don't like spoilers, so I won't spoil that. But
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you
You
don't
gotta
watch
commit,
Frasier is
you
one
gotta
thing,
commit.
but that's a
Yeah.
great film.
Yeah, we're not that committed to our tricks.
So what is the dynamic like then?
I mean, I think you kind of you nailed it for the most part. It's we went to high school together, we went to college together. We were both programmer backgrounds, slightly different majors there, but so it is like working with your clone, and I get along with everyone except for myself, apparently, because that's the the weaknesses that he has, I have, and they annoy me. But it's even more annoying when they're his. I don't know, when I have to deal with his weaknesses, which are also mine. So we don't need to turn into a therapy session, but it's
I mean, we're talking about Frasier, so I might as well go down the therapy
that's
route.
true. Yeah.
Lucas, I'm listening.
So yeah, it's but we've it's been hard, and we've made it through it, and I think that's been one of the tough things from a more relatable game dev standpoint. The recency bias, it might be what it's called. We just ported everything, and that was really difficult. Getting the game released on every single platform simultaneously was really, really stretched us very far, or very thin in terms of everyone's bandwidth. But we are approved on all the consoles. It's mostly done. So that's
Was
really
it
good.
always your intention to be on all the platforms?
We publishers said different things there. So our publisher recommended simultaneous release. So that's, when we signed with them, that became our intention, which was about a year and a half ago.
Did any one platform give you any specific challenges in getting the port approved on their system, or was it kind of
Everyone
across
has
the
their own
board?
challenges. We were
Right.
debating that question recently too, which was the worst, and no, which is the best was not discussed. But the I mean, they all have their issues. Our game is thankfully not technically crazy, so Switch optimization was a challenge, but we got through it, and that was like 8 months ago, and it was just a matter of things that we had never tried to optimize.
Mm-hmm.
We just optimized them and it worked, so that wasn't too bad. The little things. PlayStation cares about what you call their controller, and nobody else seems to care, and so that was like, everybody else has approved us, but Sony's saying it needs to be called a DualShock 4, and no one else made us call it the Switch, Joy-Con or anything like that. But so that
oddly specific.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's weird.
That was that was oddly specific, and for me it was like, you've got a working game and it's good in all these ways, and it's just the text that's holding it all up.
Wow.
That's frustrating. I get it from a brand perspective why they
Yes.
care, but not to go in the weeds, but that was
Like,
tough.
please do.
Yeah. They sent us a spreadsheet of 300 like words that you're supposed to use, and we're like, you figure out what to call the controller in this context. And
Interesting.
Speaking of PTSD, that was a rough day.
So I want to know more about Sparklite. So what are you getting power-ups? Can you speak a little bit about like how what the character's progression is throughout the game?
Yeah, the game loop. So Rogue Legacy is a decent analog here to the progress. So there's a sky town called the Refuge that you return to when you lose, and you bring back all of your Sparklite, and you also earn these things called patches down the world, and some schematics and things like that. And in town, you're upgrading town with the Sparklite that you got, and you're equipping the patches that you just returned back with, and picking some widgets is what we call them. One of my friends' feedback on the game was like, you use the word gadgets and widgets, and I have no idea. Both of those are nondescript words for a thing that does something. And
Who's you? What's it's?
Yeah, and right, and whiz bangs, and we learned how many words we have for a thing. Gizmo. We have a lot of words for a thing that
Dongles.
does something that I don't know what it is. Yeah, and so we were using all those words, but I think we've softened up some of the UX there. But yeah, so you can pick widgets to go out into the world with on your next run. Sorry, 1 second. Let me get that. Can you hear that vacuum?
It's all good.
Okay.
It's barely noticeable. It's just a slight little hiss.
Is
It's
it
like you're
Roomba
opening a
going
nice
off in the
soda
background?
pop.
Here, I'll at least shut a door. So yeah, once you upgrade town, then you and have outfitted your character, you'll go back down to the world and do another run down in the mainland. The goal is to take down the 5 Titan bosses. So generally a run consists of doing some stuff in the world, exploring the world in the biome that you're in. There's 5 biomes, so you'll go down to the biome that you're working on, solve some puzzles and fight some bad guys and earn Sparklite, and then usually people will try to take down the boss and fail and go back to town and strengthen up a bit more and go again.
All right.
Excellent.
That sounds like
It sounds like it's gonna get its hooks
I want to
deep,
play
deep
that
in
shit
there,
right
Andy.
now. You lucky bastard.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. So that's Sparklite. It is coming out on the 14th. So this Thursday, as you're listening to this. because we are podcasting from the past for the future, and you are listening to it in the present.
Oh, that's a great tagline. Podcasting from the past for the future. Let's get that. Let's
Exactly.
get that on a T-shirt.
Absolutely.
Right? It sounds pretty
We
good.
should totally do it. Lucas, is there anything else you want people to know about Sparklite? What are all the platforms it's on?
PS4,
Let's start there.
Xbox, Switch, PC, and maybe Mac.
Mhm.
And then maybe
Ooh.
even Linux, but really not committing on that front right now.
I thought you were gonna
just
say.
'cause our hands are very full.
I thought you were gonna say Vita for a second. Maybe Vita.
People did ask, and those asks have trickled down significantly. I don't know when the last person asked, but
I think
there
the
were
Switch
requests.
kind of. I mean, the fact that 41 million people have a Switch, I think that's starting to cut into the desire for
Right.
Vita ports of things.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, so that is going to take us into the Nintendo News Report. We have some interesting Black Friday pricing stuff. Now, Nintendo items do not, especially first-party stuff, they don't get cuts. They're always $60. They're always full price, whatever they come out at. But Target does have some really cool deals here. For example, you could get Mario Odyssey, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Mario Tennis are going to be $30 each. These are doorbuster deals, so you got to go in on, I think it's 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving is when the doors open or something like that. Other titles will also be on sale. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel will be $15. There's also a console and a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $300. That is back. And there's a ton of other games too. Like there's PS4 and Xbox One games as low as $15. Over 100 different games. So there's plenty of options if you're looking for some of the games you missed. So take a look at Target. They're gonna have some great stuff. I believe GameStop also had some stuff up there. Most of the first party games down to $45. So if that's where you shop, you could also go there. Andy, why don't you take the next story?
Oh, yes. So some guy named Terry Bogard, apparently, I don't know who he is or where he's from.
Terrence Bogard.
Yes. He apparently joined Smash Brothers
Ah, yes.
at the time of this recording. I don't know what universe he hails from, what the big deal is about, but
I did have a theory that he's a Ninja Turtle before he's a ninja. I mean, a turtle.
Right.
I think that's where he comes from.
Right.
No, he comes from, of course, one of the most popular fighting franchises on planet Earth, the King of
Yeah.
Fighters.
Yeah, that's a thing. Mm-hmm.
Did you know that it was only until maybe the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years or so that it blew up in Japan? That it was primarily a North American and European sensation from the late 80s through the early 2010s. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's also a
Interesting.
slight amendment or a fun little note to this story today.
An asterisk?
Yes. So we got Terry Bogard. Hooray! He
did.
looks amazing. By the by.
Yeah. Yep.
But the do you know how well do you know the roster of Fatal Fury?
Not well.
So do you know with the little?
Did I say King of Fighters?
That's the tagline. You're good. You're good.
Right. Okay. All right.
You're still good.
I'm just making sure. Okay.
I don't know why you didn't say Fatal Fury.
I know Mai. I do know of Mai.
Little fans, red outfit, bosom hanging out, brunette.
Yep.
Okay. So she was not included as a cameo in Smash because evidently, according to Sakurai, Smash is a game for good boys and girls.
Uh-huh.
So no tatas for the good boys and girls apparently. She's
No.
deemed too sexy for Nintendo.
And people have said, well, what about Bayonetta? And I say, have you played Bayonetta? Because she does not look like how she does in Smash.
Right.
They covered her up, and she had a breast reduction surgery, and they got rid of a lot of physics
Yeah. All the
for her to
physics.
work in Smash. The only one that got oddly additionally sexualized for their debut in Smash was Solid Snake. And then they removed his ass for this game anyway. So,
Right.
because good little boys and girls do not deserve Solid Snake booty.
Are you a fan of Smash, Lucas? Can we
Yeah.
expect a cameo of Sparklite in some way in the future?
Oh
Season
man,
2?
wouldn't that be awesome? That would be awesome. I would not hold your breath though. I still
Come on,
wanna
just
know
get some
the,
spirits. Get some spirits in there.
yeah.
It could happen. Just
Just
do. You know what you do? Here's what you do. You reach out to Shovel Knight people over there at Yacht Club.
Mm-hmm.
Find them on one of their yachts somewhere, and say, "Hey, can you send us the requirements that you needed to meet in order to get spirits or whatever?" Because I think they do have a couple spirits in the game. They send you that information. You make the spirits already. Then you contact Nintendo and say, "Hey, what do you think? Spirits?"
Mm-hmm.
Boom, it's done.
So
'Cause that's how business is made.
Yeah. Hopefully, we can point to the same sales numbers that Shovel Knight can point to when we have
God.
that conversation too.
Yeah.
Before we jump ahead,
Before we do
I'm
it.
just wondering. So we've had Joker, Banjo-Kazooie, and now Terry. What could be next? What's on the horizon for Smash in terms of the next fighter?
I think
It's hard to pin down a pattern because it could
I
go
think I get it.
anywhere at this point.
I think I got
I
it.
think you're wrong, but go
It's
ahead.
very possible that I'm wrong, but
Very extremely
recently
likely.
there was a company
Hmm.
that made a big stink saying we're going to revive our old dormant IP. That of course was Capcom.
Hmm.
What character in Capcom's backlog in their catalog would fit perfectly in Smash Bros?
Maybe someone from the Breath of Fire family.
No. I think-
Regina from Dino Crisis.
No. I think Beautiful Joe.
Ooh, you
That's
see,
interesting.
because I think we had this discussion before, because that's also it's a Nintendo affiliated IP. That was a GameCube series.
Exactly.
So that
Right.
makes
Exactly.
complete sense. I would love that.
Exactly.
I'd love that. Okay. Well,
Speaking of Smash Bros, we got some new amiibo that have gone up. They're not up for pre-sale just yet, but there are the Super Smash Bros. Series amiibo. Dark Samus and Richter Belmont
I
are
want
coming on January. I know they look
I
so good.
want them. I don't buy amiibos often, but these look sexy as all
They look
fuck.
really pretty.
That Samus
real
is
pretty.
pure sex. Oh my god.
I'm gonna drop this in the chat so that Lucas can follow the bouncing ball if you're interested, because
Yeah.
they look real cute.
Holy
Um,
hell. Those look really good.
But yeah, so January 17th, that is for North America and Europe. I heard somebody had saw a pre-order thing for a French website, but then it was removed. So who knows when they'll actually get the pre-order.
It's like the model from the game was made into real life. Like it was 3D printed somehow. God, I'm gonna.
Amiibo are very high quality.
Yeah.
So I only purchased one myself. It was the new Link amiibo. It was the first amiibo that I purchased.
Mhm.
But a friend of mine recently gave me almost. He was giving away like 50 of his amiibo. So I took basically all of the Mario ones. So, and I'm looking at them like these are really well done. The paint is beautiful
Mhm.
on these. Like, I don't know, they're great sculpts. The last bit of news here. Actually, Lucas, do you collect amiibo? Are you an amiibo fanatic?
I have Lucas and a Ness.
That makes sense.
Wow, that's just so on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and yeah. It's our favorite
One
game
of-
too, Earthbound, so it kind of all works.
See, now
Oh, yeah?
I like you more. The Fraser thing was a little bit waning. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I like this guy? He sounds great,
I'm 1 for 2.
making a great game, but now you've redeemed yourself wholly.
All right.
Yes. Speaking of a great game that we really love, Cardpocalypse,
Oh yeah.
which is out on, I believe, Epic Game Store currently, is launching on Nintendo Switch on December 12th. And we are going to be working on getting, I forget his name. He was in Aussie, if I remember correctly. I have all my business cards here somewhere. But we're going to try and get them on the show. Andy, what do you think?
Oh, it has to happen.
I think it does.
I think this is the one that's gonna kill our podcast because it has a lead character in a wheelchair, and I will not filter myself. So this is it. It's the end of our show as we know it.
Wait, why? You got a problem with wheelchair people?
No, the jokes will fly, and I can't help myself. The problem with wheelchair people?
You're gonna get us fired. Yeah.
No, you're both.
I'm sorry. Do they want to be called handicapped? I don't know. I feel like that's worse.
Handicapable.
Handicapable. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I got there.
You're worse than I am.
I wouldn't say that.
You're not. You're really not. Remember, I'm the garbage human on the show.
That is accurate.
My role.
Definitely agree with that one.
All right.
It was an Irish name. It was an Irish name, not Aussie. He was Irish, I think. I'm gonna keep looking through my cards.
Now who's the bigot?
Listen, that has nothing to do with bigotry. It's memory. I have the worst memory ever. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. My memory is shot to shit, and it doesn't make any sense because I'm a trained actor.
You are.
I am.
That's why I trust you to do the cold open so well. And
so
you
well.
get it most of the time.
Oh shit! Here it is. Colm. That was Colm Larkin.
Larkin,
Good
yeah,
dude.
it does sound familiar. You could have checked our YouTube channel when we interviewed him for PAX East.
Yeah, but then you got to hear my clickety clack of my
a
keyboard.
lot faster.
Lucas, are you dead? Did we lose you? This is what people come here for, Lucas. Don't you know? It's the funny banter.
Quality banter.
All right, the hype zone
Here we go.
is interesting.
Here we go.
Andy,
You chose this.
I did.
You did.
I did. So we've always talked about what a perfect Frasier the video game would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a adventure game? Excuse me. Would it be, I don't know, a side scroller? Would it be a platformer? Would it be like those home improvement games? Something silly like that, where I don't know, Maris's pots are coming alive to chase you. I don't know. But one of our twitch.tv/dual-screen streams viewers, Super Anthony Paul, actually had the idea that you are the barista in Cafe Nervosa.
Yes.
And you are just eavesdropping on all of the characters' conversations and trying to get their orders right, but also steer the conversations and keep them from complete disaster, essentially. That was his idea for a game. Which brings us to the hype zone. Coffee Talk is releasing on the Nintendo Switch on January 29th. Okay. Coffee Talk is a game about listening to people's problems and helping them by serving them up a warm drink out of the ingredients you have in stock. It is a game that depicts lives as humanly as possible while having a cast that is more than just humans. Immerse yourself in stories of alternative Seattle inhabitants. Seattle. Ranging from a dramatic love story between an elf and a succubus, an alien trying to defend humans' lives, and many other modern readers will find strongly echo the world around them. Here are some of the game features, Andy. Tales from people from an alternative Seattle, a city where elves, orcs, mermaids, and many other fantasy races live together with humans in a modern world we all find familiar. Branching storylines, where the branches are determined not by the dialogue options you choose, but from how you serve your cafe customers. They made a Frasier video game.
Right. They already made this game before, and we've played it before.
Oh?
Yeah. At PAX East this year. Valhalla. Cyberpunk bartender
yes.
action.
Yeah, the bartender
Same
one.
game.
Yep.
But it's just cyberpunk, and you're serving up actual liquor instead of espressos and half-caf lattes with a foam of cloud-like qualities.
Now, again, if you don't think this is a Frasier game, listen to this bullet point. Selection of jazzy and lo-fi music.
Come on now. Now you're just... It's fucking,
to accompany
it's fucking
the
Frasier.
late night warm drinks and conversation.
Is there a small dog that's by your side while you pick out drinks?
You are the small dog.
Oh God.
There's also this one, and I'll do it in my best Frasier.
Oh boy.
It's gonna sound terrible.
Yeah, I sense that.
An experience to make you think, feel, and rest both your body and soul.
And
That's a bullet point.
and with that, we should go to our sponsor and wrap up the show into the Retro Game Club.
Yeah,
Or Lucas.
because we've lost Lucas.
Or
He died. He's gone forever.
You just can't handle these Frasier references.
It's on Netflix until the Peacock app comes around.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ.
you better catch up on that.
Oh, geez.
11 seasons, buddy. Get to it.
All right.
Watch. Now the game will be delayed.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of fucking Frasier.
They're gonna send the season
Watch your
assist.
mailbox for the press release in a couple days.
This week's sponsor is Melted Pins. Melted Pins is a website that sells original tattoo art inspired pins, buttons, canvas bags, and much, much more. Artist Kelsey Lynn has done art for this very podcast, for our website, for other podcasts that you may listen to. You never know. They've done stuff for Kinda Funny, their own little group, Kinda NYC as well, which I'm a part of. They're very, very cool. So if you go to meltedpins.com and you use the checkout code NDSmelted, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. Andy, I filled my cart up with something. I'm getting paid tomorrow, and I'm very excited. I'm going to buy a few things from here. Again, that's meltedpins.com. Checkout code NDSmelted. And if you want to follow Melted Pins on social media, you could do so, and they are at Melted Pins. That's at Melted Pins. Very simple. Meltedpins.com. Promo code NDSmelted. Thank you very much for... This has been my TED Talk.
All right.
Now back to the show.
Good show.
Retro Game Club, Andy.
This is it.
All right, Lucas, you and me, bro. Get that helmet on, that thinking cap. It is time to get me. I need to catch up.
You're down by a lot
Essentially.
of points. Last
I am.
week you totally
I gave you a softball.
you totally reamed yourself last week.
I did. I gave you a softball.
Yeah, you gave me like 10 points for no reason. I don't know why you did that.
Well, Lucas, this is how it works, okay? That's how it's going to go. Andy is going to give us clues, one by one. They are usually really shitty. The game we are trying to guess is a game that appeared on a Nintendo console from the GameCube and back.
Okay.
Okay?
On any Nintendo console.
Any Nintendo console or handheld from the GameCube and back in time.
No, yeah.
Now, as a team, we only get 3 total guesses before we lose the game.
Okay.
The quicker we get it, meaning the fewer clues, the more points we get. So if we get it in clue number 1, we get 10 points, clue number 2, 9 points, and so on and so forth. If we would like to ask a yes or no question, we could do so, but we forfeit a guess, and we move on to the next clue.
Okay.
All right? Andy, hit us up with the first clue in this week's Retro Game Club.
All right. This game was originally released on the arcade. But
Right.
as a bonus, as an add-on clue to this one, for some extra help, the Nintendo port of this game was released the same year as the arcade game.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
Yes, and a very not shit clue.
I mean, it's still pretty shitty.
Is there like a challenge process for bad clues?
Yeah. Our audience says, Andy, your clues are shitty.
They've never said that before ever. It's all been towards you, buddy.
Colton has always said your clues are shitty.
So I do have a very Steven-like clue this week.
What? One that gives away what the game is immediately?
Sort of, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So arcade games. So I'm thinking it could be a fighter. A lot of fighting games usually, they try to rush those out to console, especially if it's a late a Super Nintendo fighting game. I feel like the NES games took a while to get their arcade ports. Um,
It also
so
it seems like we would know it for the port and not the arcade. Is what this kind of hints at.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay,
So
let's get clue number
can we kind
2.
of hone in a bit? So you're thinking later. It would not. You're thinking later than NES, just for difficulty to port.
So I'm thinking somewhere between 92 and 94, 95. I'm thinking like right before N64. That's kind of where my brain is going.
Okay.
Could be wrong, but we'll
Killer
see.
Instinct. Yeah, we can keep going. Yeah.
Okay. This fighting game,
Yeah.
included a diverse roster of characters, including a samurai, a mercenary, a ninja, and a sorceress.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fighting game person outside of Smash.
That doesn't make the clue any less shitty.
Samurai.
Superhuman samurai, cyber squad.
There was a
Excuse me.
Ninja Turtles fighting game that I loved back in the day.
Oh, that
I
was
mean,
a
it could
great
be
game.
Fatal Fury.
That was a great game.
Can you name the types of characters again?
Sure. I said there was a samurai, a mercenary, a ninja, a sorceress.
Huh.
It's kind of describes most fighting games.
I know. That's why I'm trying to. Samurai is the one that's standing out to me. I'm trying to think which games had a samurai. I think. No, the Fatal Fury. I feel like was an arcade, a Neo Geo arcade game before, not the same year as SNES. Huh.
Just to give you, not to hinder or help your thinking, on the Fatal Fury front, there are a lot of Fatal Fury games.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
There's a lot of Fatal Fury games.
I know. Which I don't know if that means it could still be that,
Right,
because you're shitty like that.
right. Like I said before, garbage human, self-described.
I'm trying to think which one would. I guess they wouldn't have come out. I feel like by like the third or fourth game, that's when they started to come out like at the same time, because the technology started to get catch up. Fuck. And that was also around the Saturn, right? Yeah, that was the Saturn.
Ooh, Sega Saturn was a great console. Short-lived. Great games.
It was a great console.
Great games. You ready for the next clue?
Yeah, fuck you. Go.
All right. This game had an unusually high number of secret characters. So think about a game like your Street Fighters, your Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, well, I know.
The odd 1 or 2 or 3 max.
Yeah.
This one had a lot. And let me do a quick count. Is that more than 10? Fuck you, game.
Fatal Fury, I think, only had 4 characters, and then you unlocked everybody else.
That's not real. Can't be right.
No, it did. It had 4 playable characters.
Is that what Google's telling you right now?
No, I remember that it had it, because that's why Terry Bogard is so fucking important. He's one of the only ones that last.
I mean, between him and Mai, I'm trying to think of other ones. Ryu, right? With the orange.
Yeah, they had their own.
The orange
Ryu,
Gee.
yeah.
Geese Howard, is he Fatal Fury? He's Fatal Fury, right?
I don't know.
I think he's.
Wasn't there No, I
I
don't know.
think Geese Howard is Fatal Fury. Yes, I'm almost positive. So where do your heads at, boys? Are we going forward here? More clues? What's going on?
What are you thinking? Where are you, Lucas? Where are you thinking?
Yeah, my fighting game history is almost non-existent, especially at arcades because we were cheap and did not pay for arcades.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm not going to be very helpful unless I can Google, which I've just
He's-
been assuming is not okay. So I'm not. doing
Andy
that.
does it every week.
Oh yeah. When I get the game on the first clue, I'm
Yeah.
Googling shit. He's gonna,
Samurai.
he's gonna be like Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Is the final answer.
Samurai Mercenary. Those
It seems like
sound
Samurai
like
is very Googleable if you were to do it, but
Fighting game samurai.
But
Yeah.
I feel like what would make a character a mercenary? Like that would stand out as a mercenary in a fighting game.
right. Yeah, that's a good point. That might explain why he's called it the mercenary instead of the more specific thing. I mean, you could be a hitman.
Mhm. It's also like, to go back to a lot of fighting games. They had a lot of backstory, but they're not really in the game. You have to like dig through like articles
Yeah,
and
person with the
like
briefcase.
right. It's
Yeah.
like you know who they are unless you watch the opening crawl with the lore or you read the in-game bios. Like, oh yeah, that's a mercenary. Okay, I didn't know that.
I need to know who made this game. That's what's important for me. Let's get the
Oh,
next
I
clue.
give
Andy.
you a bonus clue.
No, you just give us the next clue. It's okay.
Okay. Let's see here. What's the next clue? Okay. 2 of the secret characters in the arcade version were made default options in the N64.
Ah.
All right, that's helpful.
And a little bonus for you. This game was only ever released on the N64 in the home console space. So it was arcade, N64.
Excuse
So
me.
Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct both come to mind, but
Good, those were everywhere though. Killer Instinct,
oh,
yes, I would say
true.
maybe.
Right,
Mortal
right,
Kombat
right,
was
right.
on Genesis,
You're
on
right.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing there for you boys.
Yes.
2 sets of developers and publishers on this game, which is odd. I think it was we're doing arcade, you're doing the home version.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll give you a year too, 97. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm being very generous because you're way behind. So maybe you'll get it at some point before I go to the next clue. Which
97.
is my
Clay Fighter.
This is my Steven-esque clue. Now, Steven,
Yeah.
and Lucas, I have a proposition for you. I'm gonna give you this next clue. We're like what, 1, 2, we're like 5 clues deep right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I will give you the 6th clue. And if you guess it, you'll get that extra point. As if you didn't ask for another clue. Because I
Oh my.
want to give you this clue.
I don't know if I could handle that kind of pressure.
Okay.
Okay.
This is my silly Steven-esque clue for the round. Okay. Jedi Master plus historical period in time.
Jedi
Man, that's
Master
really ringing a bell.
plus historical.
Period in time.
So let's think. Jedi Master,
Uh-huh.
Yoda,
Uh-huh.
Yoda,
Uh-huh.
Darth Vader.
Uh-huh.
Pretty sure
Mace
that
Windu.
there was
Uh-huh.
a game where Darth Vader was playable.
Mace Windu. That's where I'm going with this.
You're right there. Just do it.
I don't know it. I don't know the name of the game.
Mace Windu.
Wait, what was the second part of that?
Historical period in time that involves maybe samurai and ninjas.
Feudal mace. It definitely wouldn't be Windu.
Windu Warriors.
Windu medieval times. I'm gonna ask a yes or no question.
Sure. The word Windu is not in the title.
Is the Jedi Master that I'm thinking of? I don't think there's any game with Yoda.
Do you know all the Jedi Masters though? So watch
I know
yourself.
a bunch.
Just,
I know
ask your question.
mace is a common word. That's why.
All right.
But you know it's not a common word?
Win-
Obi-Wan.
Windu.
Or what's the other doofus's name?
Qui-Gon.
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 That's not a common.
Another doofus.
Yeah, probably not Qui-Gon.
Luke is Skywalker. Sky could be a game with Sky in it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to ask her yes or no question?
No, I don't. What's the next clue?
All right. The plot of this game
Here we go.
is to hunt down and kill Asmodeus, who wields the fabled mace of Tanis.
Ah. Mario Tennis Maces.
You got it. That's it.
Got it.
Get all the
I did
points,
it.
baby.
You said Tanis. You said the Mace of Tanis.
The mace of Tanis.
Mario Tanis Maces. That's it.
I'm
did it.
give you 20 points for that clue. For that guess, I mean, since you're ahead. You won. You won it all.
I have no idea what this game is, Andy.
All right. Okay. You will get a whopping 0 points. And
that's fine.
That's bad. Mace, the Dark Age.
I've never heard
It
of
was
it.
a fighting game developed by
I'm
Atari
gonna Google this.
and Midway,
Wow, that's a duo.
released in the arcade and N64.
Oh, why didn't you tell me it had Lord Zed on the cover? Wow. Did you even ever play this game?
Yeah, I had it
Why?
because it had fatalities in it, like Mortal Kombat. That's the only reason why.
You're so easy to please.
I am. I like sprites too. Thanks, Lucas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
You can take.
Oh, wait a minute.
Taste it in your mouth. Sparklite.
Yeah.
This cover looks familiar to me, but I
Yeah,
I've
it
never-
it look. You know what it looks like? You know why it's familiar to you, Lucas? Because this was the game that there was way too many copies of in Blockbuster
Uh-huh.
that nobody rented.
Yeah,
That's why
you
this
are very right about that.
This game was all over Blockbuster. 19.
Yeah, but it reviewed fairly well though. It wasn't a bad game by any stretch of the word. It was fairly decent, much like your lovemaking.
Indeed. Indeed. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. It's been a pleasure
It's been a great show.
doing this. It's been great doing this train wreck for you.
Yeah, it has been.
We love you all so much.
We hope you love us back.
If you want to follow us on social media, you can do so. We are at NDS Podcast. I am at BatChild27, and Andy is at PantsGuy. And Lucas, where can everybody find you and Sparklite and Red Blue and all that fun stuff?
Twitter tends to be our best platform, Red Blue Games. But we're all over social media. You can find us with a Google search. But Twitter's probably our favorite platform.
Sweet. And what's your handle?
Discord soon, but it's not official yet.
All right. What's your handle on Twitter?
Oh, Red Blue Games. I think just flat
Red
Red
Blue
Blue Games. Yeah.
Sweet. At Red Blue Games. Dude, how did you get red blue? That's
Twin colors. As kids, my brother and I were he was red, I was blue. If you have twins, that makes sense. You dress them up differently so that you can tell.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, or you just accidentally cigarette burn one of them.
No,
But
let me see a Sharpie. That's way more efficient. It's permanent that way.
I actually have twin nephews that one of them has a birthmark. So if you're ever in doubt, you just gotta look on his upper back, and you could find the tiny little birthmark. You'd be like, ah.
Yeah, that's useful. Even when fully, in the bathtub, you can still differentiate that way.
Or, yeah. See, there you go. Problem solved. If you want to join our Facebook group, please do so. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/NDS podcast. You could also like our dual screens on Facebook. So just go to facebook.com, type in dual screens, and we should show up, and you just give us a one little follow and whatnot. If you want to watch us on Twitch, you could do so at twitch.tv/dual screen streams. That's twitch.tv/dual screens streams, dual spelled DUEL, just like fighting, because that's what we do on the show. We fight all the time. Thank you to our contributors, Zazu Pitts of Sour No Productions, for our theme song. Thank you, Matt Murray, for all of our overlays and fun stuff like that. Thank you, Dan Colonna of Dinosaur Machines Hit Buttons and twitch.tv/DanOMac for your Nintendo Dual Screens logo. And thank you, Andrew Douglas, for all of our podcast art. We love you very much, Andrew. You do fantastic work. And you can follow him on social media at AngieMoto. If you want to email the show, you can do so. feedback@ndspodcast.com. And you can buy our merch at teespring.com/NDSpodcast. Whew. Andy?
You crushed that outro.
I tried.
Can we have that? Copy and paste that to all our shows.
Trying to get through it. So you know
good.
what it is? I try to make it more natural.
Yeah.
But I find that it's easier if I just read it like when Full House was ending, and it would be like, this is a Miller Boyette production filmed in front of a live studio audience, and like that's it, and then it cuts out. I think that's the route we should be taking. Is there anything you want to tell the kids before we go?
No. Why are you here? Why do you still listen to this podcast?
And please don't stop.
Yeah, right. We have guests lined up for the rest of the month and even December. But the order eludes me. So announcements to come on the Twitter or on Discord if you pay that one whopping $1 for early access for all the fun bits. And you get to see our insanity all day long, which is kind of fun to behold because we're lunatics. But yeah, that's some more to come on all that stuff.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, folks. This has been Nintendo Dual Screens episode 126 for the week of November. Excuse me, almost said October 11th, 2019. Remember, if you want to listen to this week's pre and or post show shenanigans, head over to patreon.com/NDS podcast, where you get an extra hour of content each and every week for just $5. Thank you, Andy, so much for hanging out with me, and thank you, Lucas, for coming out. Good luck with Sparklite. Cannot wait to dive in. Got my Switch right here next to me. I'm going to put in that code and get started on it right away. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Glad to have you. That's it. That's going to do it. Until next time, take care. And as always, please be excellent to each other.